done lifetimes, we've done 100 years. What's gonna happen in 1,000 years? Hey guys, it's Rachel Fisher and I'm back to review our top 10 list of top 10 unbelievable events that will happen in the next 1,000 years. Hopefully, one of us will be around then to see if this is true. Highly unlikely though. We've got a ton on this list to look forward to. Some might even happen sooner than later, so either way, let's get a head start and see what's next for the human race. Coming in at number 10, superhuman genes. If you were to be transported to the future, there wouldn't be a human being you'd recognize. That's not just because they're not your friends or relatives or neighbors. One of the predictions of the world 1,000 years from now is that the humans who live then will be superhuman. Imagine being Superman, but in real life. It is theorized that humans in 1,000 years will carry genes that are superhuman to some that we have today. CRISPR technology is already trying to do this. It's a form of gene editing that allows researchers to alter DNA sequences and modify gene function. This can help correct genetic defects, treat and cure diseases, even those passed on. But the technology may also be used to improve the ones we already have. What if you could build muscle faster or deteriorate slower or have incredible hearing and eyesight? All this is possible and more. Coming in at number 9, humans may become cyborgs. Scientists and engineers have begun to make incredible improvements to prosthetic limbs for amputees, some even being able to connect to our minds in order to operate just like a real arm or leg. For instance, the high-tech Luke arm has finally been given a sensation of touch by researchers at the University of Utah, which is something that's been missing. But we still have a long way to go to make prosthetics compared to having the real-life thing. But in 1,000 years, we will probably have solved that issue and then some. In fact, humans may even elect to swap out an eye or a limb for a superior robotic version, making us potentially half cyborg. Even wearable exoskeletons have already been paired with AI to help give factory workers superhuman strength. Number 8, we will be able to live a lot longer. Life is long, and the short of it is that it goes by in the blink of an eye. I don't think there is a person on this earth that doesn't wish they could have a bit more time in their 20s or a few decades more in general. For people 1,000 years from now though, that might very well be a reality. In fact, humans might have the capability of living for hundreds of years. Billionaires are already investing millions of dollars into the effort. Considering the fact that the aforementioned gene editing software exists, we might be able to slow down the aging process or even stop it completely. But then, what about disease or car crashes, etc.? Well, by controlling our genes, we may be able to make humans immune to disease. As for car crashes, we will have self-driving cars, so that might happen less often or even not at all. I mean, accidents will still happen, but hey, with medicine being as fantastic as it will be, we may even survive the worst kind of accident. Number 7, only 3 languages. Okay, so, hey, who's a fan of Firefly? Anyone? Raise your hands. Apparently that future isn't too far off the mark, though I really hope reapers don't exist, because that would have been terrifying. But according to an article by the BBC, there may be a chance that we only speak 3 languages globally: Spanish, English, and Mandarin. Others say we may have just one global language that we operate under. It's not like that hasn't been attempted before. In 1880, a Bavarian priest tried to combine French, German, and English, but that was obviously too complicated. But then Esperanto surfaced that was so easy anyone who plays board games could pick it up. But by that point, English had kind of taken over, but here's some perspective. 2,000 years ago, English was an unwritten tongue in the Iron Age of tribes of Denmark. 1,000 years later, it was the language spoken below French-speaking nobles. Now, 1,000 years after that, English is where it is now today. Now, in another 1,000 years, it could be English in first place, or another language could take its place. But there is a common theme that languages do die, and eventually, there will be less to choose from. Number 6, humans will live in space. Okay, we've talked about this already. It's happening, guys. People have written the checks. It's only a matter of time. We are already trying to live on the moon for a full year next time we visit. There are plans to go to Mars and live there. Trust me, guys, it's not just for fun. If we humans want to survive for the next 100 years even, we have to find a way to live elsewhere. And by elsewhere, I mean not on Earth. Great minds like Stephen Hawking dealt out warnings to the human race before he passed away, and scientists took them super seriously. Of course they should. So it's not even a question that if we are still around in 1,000 years, it's because we've just pitched up on Mars. Number 5, we might have a relationship with aliens. Speaking of living on Mars, as we continue to explore the universe, who might we meet? A lot can happen in even 100 years, let alone 1,000, and it's only a matter of when, not if. Jamie Matthews, astrophysicist and professor at the University of British Columbia, said, and I quote, "By the year 2118, extraterrestrial life won't be news but historical fact. unquote. If I'm being honest here, I'm not so worried about the aliens. I'm more worried about how we are going to act. Will it make us more humble, fearful, arrogant? Will we try and colonize or experiment on these beings, etc.? Considering how we've dealt with new discoveries, have we learned from our mistakes? How we will react to life beyond Earth is even harder to predict than when it will happen. Number 4, high-tech medicine. We all should take our hats off to healthcare workers around the world right now and every day, and not just because of COVID. Some remarkable things are happening. In recent years, a woman gave birth after a uterus transplant for the first time, and another gave birth to a baby that began as a frozen embryo 24 years ago. I mentioned earlier that we will probably live a lot longer in 1,000 years, but why? Scientists are currently making strides in being able to treat diseases like cancer that are tailored to an individual's patent genes. Additionally, the use of nanorobots as a way of protecting our body is another avenue scientists are playing around with. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology has created a cell-sized robot that can not only navigate themselves, but also sense issues with their environment. Personally, I don't know how I feel about this one, but hey, if we can catch a deadly disease before it spreads, hey, that's definitely worth trying out. Number 3, hotter planet. If you think global warming isn't happening, well, so sorry, you are so wrong. From extreme weather events that are becoming more frequent and more fatal to sea levels on track to rise 2 to 3 feet by 2100, displacing millions of people around the world, there is so much evidence. One 2015 study even predicted that Greenland won't have any ice by 2050. Hopefully, we will be able to quit the carbon habit, but unfortunately, it won't be as sudden as we need it to be. Temperatures will continue to rise and we are beyond the point of preventing it from happening, but we can potentially slow it down. So the future does look hotter, but hopefully nanobots will be able to help. In 1,000 years, nanobots might solve a lot of our problems, including the health ones I mentioned. It might also solve environmental damage, air purity, and be able to capture energy from the sun. So I guess we'll be holding out for a tiny but mighty hero in this case. Number 2, desert rainforests. Sounds impossible, right? Well, the process actually exists and it's called desert greening. Love how literal that is. Though we may not see much of a difference now, in 1,000 years, we may find deserts will become tropical rainforests. Desert greening has been going on for several years now, with experiments beginning in the Sahara Desert. This could help solve dozens of problems such as food and water shortages. Currently, the greening process is being performed over 30 million square kilometers of land, and not just on the hot sandy beach deserts, but also on icy tundras. There are many different methods currently in use. One is rotational grazing, which manages where livestock feeds so they can give specific areas breaks, and landscaping efforts to help reduce erosion, evaporation, and the appearances of sandstorms are also underway. So yeah, in 1,000 years, deserts might be a thing of the past. Arabia now. Love that song. Number 1, space elevators. If you're a fan of Willy Wonka and have always dreamed of going up in that magical elevator that can fly, well, hopefully you will in 1,000 years. Because guys, space elevators, if we gotta go visit our relatives in space, we can't just take a rocket every time. That's expensive. We gotta get up there in style. NASA says that a basic concept of the space elevator is sound, and researchers are optimistic that it can happen. Tokyo-based Obayashi Corp has even boasted that they plan to have one built by 2050, and China wants to beat that by 2045. But realistically, it's going to take far longer than that. Experiments on board the International Space Station are already underway, however, and could determine how soon this could become a reality. It could be in hundreds of years, or it could just be in 50. A mini elevator called Stars Me, devised by Japanese physicists, will simulate on a small scale what conditions an elevator to the stars would encounter in a weightless environment. Experts call the space elevator idea the holy grail for space travel, as it would be an affordable way for everyone to reach the stars. So now you have a glimpse of what life will be like in 1,000 years. What did you think? If you like this video, do the thing! Do the thing! We love when you do the thing. It makes us happy. Like, subscribe, you know what to do. Also comment on what you're most excited for, as well as any theories you've heard. My name is Rachel Fisher, and until next time, take care and look to the stars. I love technical difficulties. I did a whole 10 minutes of this video and then I had to redo it because I forgot to put my earbuds in! Number 6, humans will become Number 6, humans will live somewhere else. Additionally, the use of nanorobot, okay. The Massachusetts Institute, oh my gosh, that's hard to say. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology was, Massachusetts is one of the, it's like Worcestershire. More frequent and more fatal to sea level levels? For fuck's sake, I can't write today.